You enjoyed your trip?
I did. Thank you. Seen a whole lot of the world.
Even from up high.
Even from up high. That's right. Thank you.
I was having a meeting before Friday. We had,
Yes, sir. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather today. Thank you for the much needed rain over the past couple of days. Just ask that you be with us during our meeting. Help us to make the decisions that work best for our community. Lead, guide, and direct us. Thank you for your Son dying for our sins. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Would you pray? I don't got things here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Keeping you on your toes. It's closer to all the electrical. I don't tend to kick anything from here.
All right. Good morning. All right. So we'll start with Miss Bechtel,
Here.
Ms. Cookenberg,
Here.
Mr. Cox, Mr. Booth. Thank you. And Mr. Turbin. Thank you. That's right. Thank you all. And if I might share real quick before we move to the next item, while I was gone, I did get a text from the folks at the bank that they wanted to know if I could meet with them at 10 today, so I can reach out to them and say later than 10 or continue with 10. But I thought I needed to let you know. I can see if if we can do a little later in the day.
Just in case.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'll be happy to do that and tell them. Okay,
It's gonna be short.
sweet. I love short, sweet closed session. Awesome. All right, I'll send them a note as soon as we.
Fed up, I think we should go to closed session 2.2 3711A3.
Second.
All right, on the motion to move into closed session under 2.2 3711A3, discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or for the disposition of publicly held real estate where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. And I understand in this case it might have to do with property acquisition because Steve would want me to say
Correct.
something like that. Okay, based on that, Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtel?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
And Mr. Turner? All right, thank you.
Do that.
So moved. Second.
Second?
All right. On the motion to come out of closed session, Ms. Bechtel,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
and Mr. Turman.
Yes.
All right, we are out of closed session.
I'll take a motion to certify we already discussed those things we went into closed session for.
So moved.
Second.
All right, on the motion to certify that we only talked about the things we were supposed to in closed session, Mr. Booth,
Yeah.
Ms. Bechtel,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
let's see, Ms. Cookenberg, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Turman.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Got me so soon, huh?
Vacation break.
Yeah.
Now,
Beautiful thing.
alluded to earlier about setting a fee for the fines for speed.
Well, he's gotta tell us what we can and can't do, but I'm not above on the first offense. If you're throwing trash outside of the boxes, $1,000 fine on the first offense. Or we could do a warning, whatever, but when we get into the fines, about $1,000. And I'm so put out with the people that are feeding that if you're caught feeding in a green box, it's $1,500 first time.
I would also like to include some mandatory community service to make them pick up.
Sure, make them clean up.
Make them work the
Yeah.
site.
Especially the first, even on the first time, a warning.
But I don't know if on the thing he'll have to look into is and advise us on is, cause I think the state law, the fines are $500, $250, $500. So I don't know if we can exceed what the state does. And I don't know that the state has anything either on illegal feeding unless it would be something through the game commission.
If I might, there is some language that we could pick up that I think a while ago I might have circulated with y'all, more related to bears specifically. But we could potentially try to merge some of that language in. Instead, what they had provided us was, Betsy had provided us with was kind of a model bear-wise ordinance. Some of that may have gone a little further than you all intended at this time. So I think that's why we hadn't taken up, but maybe there's some good pieces out of there, particularly related to feeding, we could pick up. And kind
And I
of
think we come back for the fine.
What I'm looking at these fines. Some of these people, pardon my terminology, but don't have the proverbial pot. I don't want to break $1,000 fine, but you can fine them $500 for the first offense. Second offense, if they're dumb enough to do it again, then I ain't got no mercy for them. Yeah.
Well, the other thing I was gonna say, I do agree we need some high five. But the second part is, and I'll have to check to see what this does now, but, you know, back in the day, if you didn't pay your fines, they enacted that upon your driver's license,
Right.
suspend your driver's license. Well, they've changed all that now. To best I understand, if you don't pay your fines, they don't affect your driver's license anymore. So it's sort of like there's no,
That's where you go back and put a lien against their property.
Or their tax, they also do liens against your tax refunds,
Yeah.
and state benefits.
I mean, I don't wanna do it. And I'm not fixed.
Yeah,
You know me, I just go to the jugular because we've talked about this, not just the last month, not just the last 8 years, but this has been a problem, ongoing problem
we do everything.
ever since I came on board in '92. And for the most part, most citizens do what they're supposed to. But we've got some that have, for whatever reason, I'm not happy that, I guess, should count our blessings. Yes, it's great that some of these groups pick up cats and around the dumpsters and neuter them. And then, you know, at least they're neutered so they won't keep populating, but then they bring them right back to the dumpsters and turn them loose. That's gonna change, or gonna have to, if we go to these sites.
If we can cut down or eliminate our out of the county dumping, especially Buffalo Mountain Road, and over here, you'd be surprised how much our waste bills.
Yeah.
Well, or, you know, I was thinking about it. Or we could strike an agreement with Carroll County similar to what we have with Franklin County. You know, there's certain sections out on Walnut Knob, Franklin, or they used to, I'm guessing they still do. Franklin County paid a certain fee for those people to use. They agreed to do that because it was cheaper than them bringing nobody up there and them taking care of it. If we had a section over here in Carroll County that Carroll County was willing to do the same thing,
Up Dickerson Road in Duxbury, you're in Carroll, in Floyd, in Carroll, it just depends which curve you're going to.
Yeah. Same thing.
Same way, Brandon Road, you turn off of Carroll, you get Floyd. You know, we need to work to get them people that lives like that some relief. Because, you know, if I live on this side of the curve and I'm in Carroll County and I go around the curve and I'm in Floyd, I'm gonna use Floyd's dumpster. You know, so, you know, them people need relief, but once you pass Duxbury Deli Mart, you're Carroll.
That's kind of what Jerry's saying about the Walnut Knob and then the folks across the Parkway, Park Ridge, and then the one down a little bit further near Deer Run that we removed. But there were a couple of Franklin County residents that are in the same boat as you. But we, is that
I
Franklin
haven't
County?
seen that agreement in a long time.
We have had some folks that have shown up recently. Apparently, they could get a permit from us that then would be signed off, and they're supposed to have that. So, but the pieces of paper are very yellowed. When somebody came and asked for them the other day, we had to look quite a bit to find it. So we need to find the document behind it
Yeah.
and see what
Back
still
to the
is.
fines.
Mm-hmm.
What is the board's consent? What's the minimum? Actually,
I think that the 1,000 is high. I like the carrot stick approach. Service that if you your first offense, you get a fine, and then plus community service, and then if you do it again, then you throw the book.
I can live with that. I'm just,
Well, you know, you could make a first time fine $250 plus 50 hours of community service.
Yeah, in and around the landfill and the dumpster sites.
And I'm, although I like the cash fine approach, I do understand that there's a lot of people that don't have the cash, so I would be open to considering community service in lieu of fines also.
Yeah,
You know,
optional.
Yes.
Well, while we're on the topic, I would like to see if the fines, the money collected from the fines can go back into the county budget
Yeah.
to supply a salary and benefits package for a code enforcement officer.
There you go.
Yep.
I'd like for that position to be supplemented
Sure.
through this.
When they come to work, they don't bring their trash with them.
yeah. I'm going down there anyway, so.
And I'd like for that, I would love for us to get a county enforcement officer, and I would like for it to be supplemented through the sanitation.
See, we did that early on. Built it up or for flat. You know, because it was used for collective enforcement. for the deputies.
Does that, a $500 fine, do we have authority for that whole $500 to come back to the county, or does a portion have to go to the state?
I think it's usually separate from the court costs.
Under county ordinance,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you write it under the county ordinance, it should come back to the county, right? And just make it separate for it to be applied to that.
Or if we get a convenience, everything should be.
Yeah.
That's where you get all.
I mean, if people want to feed them out by their own back door.
Yeah.
I don't mean that ugly, but
Doesn't mean to pay. They dismissed it.
I just feared that one of some of these nights, somebody taking trash will walk around the dumpster and get hurt.
Especially if a mama's got a baby.
Right.
I believe with the convenience center.
Yep.
Well, any animal.
Yep. Especially when they're bad.
I do understand that apparently one of the places that somebody was feeding cats, the person that was has been dissuaded recently. And I've been by there and it's different. Quit.
I don't know, but I don't. I had 5 or 6 cat bowls lined up.
Mm-hmm.
They got to appear in these green boxes. So somebody was picking them up and chucking them in there. I don't know who was doing it, I really don't. I reckon it got too expensive and they quit.
Well, I think it was that, and then maybe they helped them understand that in the end, it's not very safe for the animals either. Right? Their odds of getting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And looked and whoever was putting the cracked corn out, it's not doing it anymore. The green box is gone. So maybe not only if we break the bear cycle, we might break people's cycle at that stage as well. But we hope we can put it back.
We'll keep checking for.
Like 500.
500 or community service or 500 with.
Well, I mean, going back to trying to supplement that position,
You know, the only thing.
community service.
Show coverage.
That's okay.
It's worth trying.
Yep.
You could maybe do.
Jail accident.
Well, you could do 500 or 250 plus some.
Yeah, that.
If the people want to.
Up to $500.
First offense.
It's a lot of money.
They can figure out how.
Yeah.
We do it.
Jump to 1,000 second offense.
I don't care. If they do good stuff, and
Yeah, I think so.
And that's, and pull those numbers to the, if we can, to the feeding and the dumping outside of the dumpsters and now for the same fee and everything for the people that are coming from outside of the county and putting stuff in it.
I think the ones from outside the county should be paying more than fine wise, and they're just illegal dumping.
Yeah.
Construction and stuff like that inside the county. And your fine should be, because it is their boxes.
Outside of the county first offense.
Especially with construction stuff.
It's not 1,000.
Yeah.
Construction and furniture is what you're getting out of
Yep.
down in Buffalo Mountain.
I think once we get this ordinance passed, we can get it. That's gonna be a big deterrent to a lot. Our district are supposed to, because they don't want to take a chance.
Something else we may
Need to do a good press release.
Yes.
we're getting ready to
Thank you.
see
Yeah.
if, when we get this thing solidified, we put a ad in the Herald News too.
Good idea.
Wouldn't hurt.
See,
Yep.
Wouldn't hurt.
dump at your risk.
Wouldn't hurt to do it News Messenger,
Yeah.
Montgomery, and the Enterprise, if it's still operating or whatever's operating.
They used to pay in auctions, cash or good.
Yeah.
Like credit card payments at all.
Trust everybody else cash.
Well, and then we'll be able to put new stickers or signs up at the sites to explain what it is, and maybe y'all would consider doing a 30-day grace period kind of thing, just to let people know starting this day or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's what-
Yeah, push them up or try to be- push
But how long would it take for us to get that into the ordinance?
it.
Yep. Write it.
Us look at, it, make any changes that we can, or if we decide we want to, and then have to be at least one public
Public
hearing.
Right, it has been your practice to
Not that
have
we
a.
need to.
It is not required, but it has been your practice to have a public hearing before any ordinance changes.
We need to get on it quick.
I think you may have to,
You can tell for them.
we go with what he said. Since we're actually including the fines and the changes, we may have to.
But I can't see any of our citizens coming in protesting this.
Well, if they do, we won't keep a list of their.
I can see it on social media right now.
Okay, well, we'll work on checking, maybe have this as a primary agenda item for your next day meeting and make sure Steve can be here and that we'll have a draft in hand that y'all can modify, but at least kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
All right, we'll do it. Thank you.
Start with the new fiscal year, if everything works out.
If we can,
Yeah, that'd be great.
that would be great.
Yeah, and we'll look into where those fines go and how we need to structure
Yeah.
that. So thank you for that.
Well, and I'm not opposed to the town going for that purpose, but I think we'll, like in the past, we'll, if we're serious about doing this, we'll commit the funds to the position to keep the position, whether it's funded either way.
Right, yeah, I agree. It'd just be nice if we could supplement that. Because if we raise these fines, I mean, we, with as much as the sheriff's office is already having to do with normal day-to-day calls, we're gonna about have to have a position like that to really enforce this.
Absolutely.
Position, we're gonna have to have a vehicle.
We just can't depend on the current
This
staff to enforce it.
This person will, usually what happened the last time, the person did the same thing, the other did. And I take it this person will have to too. While they'll be working primarily code enforcement, if needed, they'll be available for others.
Yeah.
Well, French.
We may be able to check with Brian
Mhm.
and see if they got any old seizure vehicles that they could use. But then we would have to have maybe a shirt or something that shows their
Sure.
badge of authority, and That's way they can be identified as being law enforcement, whatever. Because they got an old van, something, some fees.
Here, the other part of that, and of course, sheriff is the expert on it, but my past experiences are bad people throw trash away too. So a lot of times, you know, you'll end up in a lot more activity than just a illegal gun ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
proved
Man.
itself out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drug activity. Yeah.
Through the train.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Full out sworn.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
It'll be adding another deputy position, I'd say.
Part of the academy would pertain to what they would be doing, so they could.
Yeah, I think
may
they
have
could
modify.
exit out from like radar and different things that they have to modify the academy or something.
Through that process and, but anyway, when we get to Brian, when we get there,
I'm sure you won't complain about a little extra help.
no, yep. So you got about, I don't know what time you have to leave, you gotta be there at 10?
Well, I told him that maybe, no, I said we'd have to push it back, but I said maybe I can get there just 10:15 or so. Yeah. So,
We got a week.
I was on vacation.
May I? One of the things I did was check, well, I continue to check almost daily if there's any comp board updates, and there's not. So there's still per our last meeting or a little bit after, skinny budget at 5% with the looming leaning towards 7, could be 6. I mean, that nobody's pulling a trigger, but they are saying no less than 5. So, you know, depending on how you want to move forward, there is no solidified or final ruling, I guess is the word, budget from the comp board.
What's our schedule? You got a schedule, hold public hearing, and not the final budget of
Think we
last meeting of the month in June.
with that?
We may have already looked it up.
We did.
Yeah, I think we kind of did, but,
Regardless of what the state does, we may have to, we can advertise high and then drop it if we have to. And we may have to go ahead and advertise the budget that will be 7%.
oh, the budget, okay. Him and I got panicked for a minute. I thought we did the right thing, so.
It's all about the budget.
Okay. Okay. You know, and I guess alternatively, you could pass a budget and then do an amendment, but to your point, you'd have to have the money however you wanted to move it in an amendment. So you could, whatever you think your best position is, pass it and then recognize might have to make changes in August. Is a possibility, but I pulled up what I think I gave you all, which is, let's see, we said final budget must be approved by, or 6:30. And that assumed, yeah, we'd assumed we were pretty much already gonna pass. So, regular meetings, of course, as you know, are scheduled for the 14th and the 28th.
So we gotta end it past.
Oh, the 13th and the 27th.
Yeah, 13, 27.
13th.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah, thank you.
So with the budget, we just have to advertise one time or two. I know if it's a tax increase,
It's
it's
two, right.
one.
I think if I remember right, we'll clarify, but if I remember right, it is 1 week for the budget. In the last couple of years, we've had to advertise twice because there was printing errors that made it illegible. But yeah, I think we only really have to advertise the one time because it's a regular ordinance. Yeah.
So we're covered either way.
Mhm. Yes, yes, that was kind of our recommendation that we would go ahead and do that. That we candidly for things of significance, we've started doing that pretty regularly, just to make sure everything is.
Yeah.
That's
For advertising purposes, we could put the 7% in. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not tickled about approving a budget, then amending it in August.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that, I just don't get on board with that. If we put the 7% in, with everybody having the understanding that it, employees, everybody's going to have to understand if the state does 5, then they're not getting 7. And advertise the budget, we have that part out of the way, then we can reduce whatever prior to us approving, can't we?
Yes. Yeah. We've done that before.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
So-
we've done that before.
So rather than us run up on this, if they wait till say our meeting's 27th, they wait till the 25th to pass their stuff, we're out of time.
Which we thought.
Or do you think that's the wrong way to go?
I guess my only concern about if you go ahead and advertise a 7% pay increase, people are gonna expect a 7% pay
I'm talking
increase.
about top board positions. Across
Okay.
the board. Not across
Okay,
the board.
then we probably should clarify that. Because I misunderstood,
I
which
did too.
suggests, suggest other folks might. Okay, so advertise, if I might share to clarify, so advertise 7% increase in comp board salaries and put a notation or whatever was required. And then, and I apologize, you all might have discussed this last week, if you decided what you would suggest for non-comp board.
Not that far.
That's where I had some concern.
Pandemic hit, we were gonna do 2 that year, but we're one step behind already. Fine with that.
Well, that was what we initially had discussed. Yeah. When it looked like the budget was not gonna come until 11:59 on June 30th.
Which it may not get.
Which, yeah.
But then, next year, when we put it on the table, we need to look at
Where we.
longevity. There's been some suggestions and talking, whether we continue the step or do other stuff,
Right.
and we need to look at that in context.
And maybe we don't even have to wait until the budget, we can talk about
They
it.
have to make
Well,
a
we
decision about
can get it down, but have it where it's instant, where it takes effect
Right.
in the budget.
So, if I might share, so a couple of the things we were discussing a little bit here. So another alternative would be if for talking, for discussion, if you were at 5% for non-comp board employees, and if you potentially advertised all the positions at 5%, if say you've made a commitment at 5%, if it comes back that the comp board says 7, then the comp board is what, and the state is what has forced up the additional cost if you have to come back. As opposed to my concern was if you advertise 7 and particularly for non-comp board employees and end up coming back and saying 5, you don't get, and I know I'm getting into a little bit with politics with a small p, but still, it's then 5% is not nearly as appreciated if you once thought it was going to be 7.
Right.
So it's just how people think. Yeah. So
But
okay. Okay.
And that my other question to that would be to, if that's how you want 7%, then it's going to be purely comp board positions,
yes,
and that there is a compromise in 2 departments that are, let's say, half and half, or 33% of one and 50% of another is 7 and 5, and then you'll have 2 employees in another department getting 7 and 1 not getting
Yeah.
5. I'm just throwing that
no,
out
I
there. That's
understand. But the board comes in, it's based for seven, then you're gonna have the same situation. Those that got 5, and then you got the same ones you're talking about are gonna be bumped up to 7. So you got the same,
Well, and just to muddy the water a little bit more, I don't know if you all were on there, but just to note, we did, Mr. Chairman and I didn't see maybe else got something about the part-time library staff. So I feel like since we're discussing salaries, I should mention that. There's some of the part-time, so the part-time, many of the part-time folks at the library, they are at or very close to the state minimum wage. Yeah, it was we gave them a raise because the minimum wage went up. So I would be remiss if I didn't point that out to you. We are,
at least,
yes, of course.
sure.
It's just round up, right? It's only kids.
Think we need to
That's right.
Yeah, we need to see what they.
we strapped.
You never know what they're gonna do. And with as many seats up as there are,
Commits to something we can't do.
What's y'all's pleasure?
Because the state's got us in the pickle on a lot of stuff. Freeze to library and any other stuff when we look to do that we have to put on the back burner. Because we don't know what they're going to do.
I wanna do a 5% across the board advertising. If it goes up, we'll amend the budget with the composition.
Rather than
That's sort of like
high
this
side.
area.
Yeah.
I think advertising low, having to amend would be prudent.
Because that's, they won't get no misconception.
Right.
They know what they're facing. They pretty well can figure on the 5%. They can't bank on the 7 on the I'm not banking on the 7.
But yes, there is going to be some, there will be. And that's just the,
It's human nature. I know how I'd feel.
I don't disagree.
it's just the reality of the situation.
Okay.
You want us to go ahead and
Yeah.
start the advertising process? We can make sure we get you guys a final version for, make sure everybody, it's reflective of what you all think you have to date? Or do you want to go ahead and, would you like to proceed, I guess, Mr. Chair? I'm looking for instruction. Okay.
But I mean, I guess, are you asking how you wanna? I think that's what.
We can start the advertisement process, yes.
Which is,
But if we make any changes, we need, if we're looking to make any changes to increase in it, we have to do it before it's advertised.
Correct.
Two increase, one decrease.
we're meeting tomorrow, right?
I mean, whenever you want to.
Yes, we are meeting.
We had it.
We had it scheduled.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I thought you meant up to us. I was like, okay. Mhm. Sounds good. Yeah. That's fine. Okay.
In your hymnal.
Is that the red or the blue?
Page 20 of what, I'm sorry?
Expenditure.
Fire rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Excel document.
Yeah, you're a little off. Let me find out.
All right, looking for. My page is cut off.
Forward
Can't
dash.
give you the right number.
So if I might, so this is the $40,000 rescue funding, is that 45,000? That's what you all.
That is on page 34 of 39. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There.
45,000.
Okay.
Due to number of the responses dropping off so much. I know you took it down because of that, but I don't think you quite took it far enough.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. In 2021, it was at 54.5. We approved in 21 54.5 and in 22 57. I mean, oh, I'm on the wrong one. 29, I mean.
You
29.
give me a heart attack.
Yeah, no, I like these lines,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I almost don't wonder if we bring it all the way down to 30.
I know what they were running in 21. Total was.
I don't know that there's been that much of an increase.
35.
All right.
I'm good with 35. I wish they had been more responsive in our equipment.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
concerns, another
So-
thing that concerns is too.
So I guess you got a consensus.
Consensus of rescue to 35,000.
That was it.
Okay.
It's not the, sorry, paper instead of.
I'll find it.
It's on page 13, it's the Deer Valley Community Services.
I got something.
Okay.
Yeah, page 31.
It's got the agency on agings on the page and everything else. I know we're proposing to hold it 41.5. The other localities have agreed to try and increase, my understanding, when their proposed budgets.
the same thing.
Nobody,
Yes, my understanding is folks are making an effort to move up, but nobody is
nobody's
moving.
approaching the 10%.
27, page 27.
We've held it 41.5 for 2 years. Be willing to go 42.5 instead of 41. I don't know how that matches up with what the others is doing, but it is, it's $1,000 increase.
Yeah.
That'd be okay since we
And,
just said
and if
10.
not, I'm doing my duty here.
Yeah, representing.
Knowing what the community services. We
We're trying to get it this year. Every year the state sends us a letter, we ask for variance, they vary. But in some of the private talks this year, the state, it's time for local governments to start moving toward that 10% because the state is gonna eventually stop sending their 90% match. If we're gonna do it, 10.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with
Yep.
that.
Okay. So if I might, so increase that line by $1,000. Okay.
Be closed. The, guess it's community program.
Yeah. What page?
Me, it's 17.
Yeah.
But it's
Levi,
very
you
close to
had
what you just left going.
And 31.
What's this for?
He
Sorry.
hasn't gotten there yet.
Know the name you're looking for?
Fairview,
Oh, Fairview. Okay.
2,500.
2,500. It's my understanding, forgive me, I've had so many numbers thrown at me. I don't remember whether it's 4 or we now have 6 people in the facility, but it has increased.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna get into details, but one of the ones that's in there would cost us way more than that if they weren't there.
Yep.
You've heard us talk about it.
Thinking 5?
I'm thinking bump it back up. And that's probably still a little short, but I'm sure they'll be grateful.
That's what we started out when we first started back in the budget. We decreased it.
You can feel that on it, but. or
Got it back again.
If we could do 5 there, I think they would be appreciative and it gets us closer.
Yeah.
I had to learn this because a number of times we need to stay in a nursing home business. This is not a nursing home. And after I got on the community services board and really figured out what they were doing, I thought, how would I feel if another county had a bunch of people down here at Skyline and we was footing the bill for their people?
It's more of a halfway house.
Yeah.
So.
Right, yeah.
Independent living.
Right. So, I mean, it's not a convalescent home.
Correct.
It's nursing.
These people can function here.
Right. It's halfway between fully independent living.
Mhm.
This is what we get from he's right. Because once he comes out, he goes off his meds. It's a dangerous situation.
If your department.
For putting it back in.
I'm good with that. I think they, all right. Doing
Yeah,
good.
they do a good job.
There, but for the rest of God goes out right.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's-
Because those last 2 have been waiting on life recently.
My question is page 30 on your paper, Skyline Soil and Water Conservation District.
Mhm.
I went to their website to try to figure out what it is they do. I'm still not certain.
We get them?
Just me and
Thank you.
The very empty website.
Edith. Yeah. Thank you.
That's kind of like
Yeah, let me try. know, it's what we,
Right.
they run for election.
You can run, but you
Kurt
don't
side.
have.
He tries.
Can you, I
16.
know.
16.
Could you try? Thank you.
I can-
Skyline Soil Conservation Conservation Contribution. What do they do for us?
They do the plan review for erosion sediment control.
So would they also have the water, how our groundwater system is in Floyd County mapped? Or is it just soil and erosion?
But no, they do other things. They do when the farmers make application for permits for the fencing and water boxes and so forth. They do all that work,
Okay.
all that legwork and with the grants and get the farmers set up.
And this is an elected position that serves on that board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The two representatives on
Yeah.
it. I think we have two representatives in the county.
I went to their website, and it's very empty, so. That's exactly what they did. Thank you.
Okay.
They also, I remember they were involved with, when they redid the football field at the high school, they were very much involved in the design of that drainage standpoint, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, he'd be happy to come and talk to you if you ever wanted to come by.
I just
Who
was
would?
unclear, just very unclear as to what they did. It wasn't, I couldn't see what they did easily. The product doesn't work on the website.
They're a good resource. Okay.
That's all, that was my question.
Okay.
Thank you. You did well.
Back to working.
Is it?
Yeah. Not looking to add anywhere else.
So if I might to go back and summarize, and then we can work on making sure we have all these changes available for you tomorrow. And then at that point, we can look at publishing. And the 4 changes that I noted is to do a 5% across the board salary increase for all employees, comp board and non-comp board employees. Increase the funding to Fairview from 2,500 to 5,000, and increase by $1,000 in New River Valley Community Services to 42,500, and reduce rescue to 35,000.
So you did, usually,
Nope, it's still,
you come out of here.
still positive 3,000.
You work yourself down there. So. I don't have anything else, then I go.
Apparently, we have someone waiting in the wings.
It's good. It's good.
If it's
I'm really sorry for anything like this. I just love that allowance on the construction project we recently talked about. It was in as unit cost and allowance. It was the mass earthwork that was lump sum.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So are we okay keeping it as it was bid before? I think that was based on the fact that there were core drillings and no guarantee, but a sense of what was underneath.
Right.
Is that okay with everybody? Okay, thank you. I'm really sorry.
drop them off.
Thank you.
I thought you were gonna go with the ball. No, I did. I thought we were gonna get a ball.
I don't. I haven't been around long enough to have anything, except for good vibes.
You gotta leave.
8:30 tomorrow?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All right, Mr. Chairman, on the motion to move forward and adjourn, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtel?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
And Mr. Terman? All right, thank you all.